Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into Herbalife's Q3 2024 earnings call.
Yeah.
And, it's a bit of a head scratcher, to be honest.
I see what you mean.
On one hand, they've got this massive surge of new distributors.
Right.
But on the other, they're staring down the barrel of a global economic downturn.
It's a tricky situation for sure.
So let's unpack this, shall we? What's the real story here?
Well, it's definitely a mixed bag. Lots to consider. Maybe let's start with that distributor growth. I mean, you can't deny it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, 14% more distributors globally year over year.
Exactly. And that's 2 quarters in a row of growth now after quite a slump.
That's what really jumps out, right? 2 quarters in a row?
It does make you wonder, though.
Yeah. Is this sustainable?
Exactly. Is this a trend or just a blip?
What do you think?
Well, I think to understand that, we need to look at what's driving this growth. Are they changing their recruitment game?
Right.
Are they adapting to the market? Or is this, just people looking for a side hustle in a tough economy?
That's a really good point. And speaking of the economy, it's definitely leaving its mark on Herbalife's performance, especially here in North America.
Oh, absolutely.
They had their second consecutive quarter of improved sales decline.
Okay.
Which, it's still a decline.
It is.
But it's getting better.
Yeah, it hints at a possible turnaround, right?
Right.
It does seem connected to that growth in new distributors we're seeing here, though.
It does, yeah.
They have mentioned concerns about distributor churn, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and whether these new folks are going to be productive in the long run.
So it's not just about signing people up, it's about setting them up for success.
Exactly, and that's tough, especially now when everyone's watching their wallets.
Yeah.
People are sticking to essentials, And wellness, where Herbalife sits, that's often seen as a luxury, unfortunately.
It's true. And that brings us to, China.
Yes, China.
Sales down 16% this quarter.
Yeah, not great.
What's going on there?
Seems like it's a strategic move on their part. They're prioritizing customer acquisition over getting new distributors.
Oh, interesting.
They actually launched their first ever customer loyalty program back in June.
Did they?
Yeah, and while it's early days,
Yeah.
they have seen a big jump in new preferred customers.
So they're shifting focus, trying to build that loyal customer base.
It's a bold move for sure.
It is, yeah. Do you think they're hoping those customers will become distributors down the line?
Possibly, yeah. The idea might be to build a solid customer base.
Yeah.
Get them engaged with the brand and the products, and then maybe that translates to more distributors organically, in the long run.
Interesting, really interesting. Kind of reminds me of what some successful companies have done in China, like Alibaba, Tencent.
Oh.
They built these massive loyal customer bases.
They have, haven't they?
And they use technology, personalization, really smart stuff.
Absolutely. They created whole ecosystems. It goes way beyond just buying and selling.
It does, yeah. I wonder if Herbalife's aiming for something similar.
Could be. It's ambitious, that's for sure. And they'll have to be really strategic about how they execute it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, one other thing that jumped out at me from this earnings call was this emphasis on their value proposition.
Oh, yeah.
They were talking about, not just selling products,
Right.
but offering personalized coaching, support groups, even access to cutting edge technology to track your progress and all that.
Try to be more than just a supplement company, huh?
Well, it seems that way, yeah.
Yeah.
They want to be seen as this lifestyle brand, this complete wellness experience,
I see.
But the question is that enough?
Yeah, is it enough to justify the price tag?
Especially now when money's tight.
Exactly. Can they really deliver on this holistic wellness experience promise? And can they convince people it's worth the cost?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is. We'll have to see how it all plays out. It's a big shift for them, that's for sure.
It is, yeah. And you mentioned earlier they're having some issues in North America with that distributor churn and, are they really productive?
Yeah.
How does this new focus on, the whole wellness experience fit into all that?
Well, it could go either way, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. On the one hand, offering more than just products, that might attract and keep distributors who are looking for something more, something with a bit more meaning.
I see, yeah.
Give them a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
Make them feel more connected to the brand.
So it's not just about selling shakes, it's about
Right.
helping people change their lives.
Exactly. And that can be really powerful, for a distributor.
It can.
But The flip side is it also makes their business model more complicated.
Yeah.
They got to make sure these distributors are trained,
Yeah.
that they can actually provide this level of coaching and support.
And it has to be genuine, right?
Oh, absolutely. People can smell a fake a mile away.
For sure.
Yeah.
So authenticity is key.
It really is. And that kind of brings us back to the financial side of things.
Oh.
We haven't really touched on that yet.
You haven't, no.
But they are reporting strong cash flow.
Oh, that's good.
It is, and they're using that cash to chip away at their debt.
You did mention a debt reduction strategy, yeah.
They did, and it's pretty serious.
Is it?
Yeah, they paid off $85 million just this quarter.
Wow.
And their goal is to cut a whole $1 billion in debt over the next 4 years.
That's ambitious.
It is bold, but it seems doable based on what we're seeing.
So they're making moves to get their financial house in order.
They are, which is a good sign for investors, you know?
I would think so, yeah.
It shows commitment, long-term thinking.
Yeah, yeah.
But it does raise some questions, too.
Oh, like what?
Well, are they focusing on this debt reduction
Right.
at the expense of, investing in things that could help them grow?
Ah, I see, yeah.
It's a balancing act.
It is, and it ties back into that question of sustainability we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
The challenges of multi-level marketing, the controversies Herbalife's faced in the past.
Right.
Can they really shake off that image? Can they build a business that's gonna last?
That's the big question, isn't it? I mean, to be fair, they are doing things to try and address those concerns.
Yeah.
They've got stricter rules for distributors now,
Oh, okay.
better training programs, they're emphasizing ethical practices, all that.
Good, good.
But whether that's enough to win people over, that's still up in the air.
It's a tough road ahead.
It is.
But there's also this feeling of, resilience about them.
There is, yeah.
They're not shying away from these problems. They're tackling them head on,
Mm-hmm.
even if it means taking some risks.
That's true. They're definitely determined to adapt, to change with the times.
It seems that way.
Investing in technology, trying new ways to reach customers, diversifying their products,
Right, right.
Whether it'll work out, who knows? But you got to admire the effort.
Yeah, I do. It's a fascinating story for sure. Still unfolding, too.
It is. They're reinventing themselves,
They are.
but in a really tough, competitive market.
It is tough. So as we start wrapping up this deep dive, what does all this mean for our listeners?
Okay.
What are the big takeaways here? What should they be thinking about as they're, looking at Herbalife's performance, their future?
I think the biggest takeaway is Herbalife's in transition. They're trying to figure out this really complex puzzle,
Yeah.
balancing the need to grow with the need to be sustainable.
Right.
They're making big bets, but they're also facing some serious headwinds.
The risks and opportunities both.
Exactly. And it's up to each investor to decide, do they believe in Herbalife's vision for the future?
Do they buy into it?
Yeah, but to make a smart decision, you got to go deeper than the headlines.
Right.
Really understand what they're doing. Look at what's driving that distributor growth.
Yeah.
Think about the impact of their China strategy
Yeah.
and, is this whole holistic wellness thing really going to work?
Good point. And don't forget the financial side of things.
Right.
That debt reduction plan is big, but are they striking the right balance?
Exactly. Lots to unpack here. It really makes you think.
It does.
But that's what makes it interesting, right? This is
Yeah.
a real-life example of a company trying to transform itself.
It is.
And it'll be fascinating to see what happens next.
It will. Now, before we wrap up completely, I think we should give our listeners something to chew on.
Okay.
Something we haven't really talked about,
Hmm?
but it's something to think about as you're thinking about Herbalife and their journey.
Good idea.
What really struck me was how ambitious they are.
Oh, yeah.
They're not just talking about selling shakes and vitamins. They're talking about transforming people's lives, through community, through personalized support, through technology.
Wow.
And it makes me wonder, is this the future of the whole wellness industry? What role is technology, personalized support, all that going to play in how we approach our health, our well-being in the years to come?
Yeah. It's a really big question, isn't it?
And it really makes you think about how technology is changing, like everything.
It is, yeah, everything. Even our health, how we think about well-being.
Exactly. We're seeing it everywhere, right?
We are, yeah.
This mix of technology, personalization, and still that need for human connection.
It's exciting, but it's a little, a little unnerving too, right?
It is, yeah. There are definitely some ethical things to think about there.
Definitely.
But for Herbalife, they're clearly trying to be right there at the front of this whole thing,
It seems that way, yeah.
betting that this is what people want.
Yeah.
Personalized wellness, powered by technology.
And maybe they're onto something.
Maybe.
People do want things tailored to them,
They do, yeah.
to their own goals.
Yeah.
They want support, guidance, and yeah, like you said, that sense of community.
Exactly. But can Herbalife actually pull it off?
That's the big question.
It is. With their history, the whole multi-level marketing model.
Right. It's a tough one.
It is. They've got a lot to prove.
They do, yeah. It's an uphill battle for sure.
It is, but they are showing they're willing to change, to adapt.
They are, and that's impressive, to be honest.
It is. Not afraid to make big moves, even if they're risky.
Mm-hmm. That's what makes them so interesting to watch, I think.
It does. It shows that even these big established companies can still reinvent themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
Try something new.
It's inspiring, in a way.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Shows the power of innovation.
Absolutely.
But it also reminds us that we got to think critically.
We do.
Look at things carefully, especially when we're trying to figure out what a company might do in the future.
Couldn't agree more.
We've covered a lot today, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
Distributor growth, the China strategy, this whole holistic wellness idea.
Right, and their financials, of course.
Oh, yeah. Can't forget those. It's complicated, to say the least.
It is. There are good signs, and then there are, well, some potential warning signs, too.
Right. And in the end, it comes down to each person, right?
It does.
To decide what they think.
Mm-hmm. Weigh the risks and the opportunities. Do your own research.
Exactly. So as we wrap this up, maybe a few final thoughts for our listeners, just to
Okay, good idea.
guide them a little.
So first, remember, context is everything. When you're looking at how a company's doing, you got to think about the bigger picture.
Right. The economy.
Exactly. The competition, what customers want, all of that.
What's going on in the world.
Exactly. And second, don't fall for easy answers.
Yeah, it's rarely that simple.
It's not, no. Things are usually more complicated than they seem.
They are.
Lots of different angles to consider.
Absolutely. And finally,
Yeah.
remember that the future isn't set in stone.
It's not, no. It's always changing.
It is. And we all play a part in shaping it.
We do. Through the choices we make.
Right.
The things we do, the stories we choose to believe in.
That's a good way to put it. Herbalife's writing their next chapter.
They are.
It'll be interesting to see where they go from here. But it's up to each of us, as informed listeners, critical thinkers, to decide how we understand their story.
Right. And what role, if any, we want to play in it.
Exactly. So stay curious, stay informed.
And stay engaged.
And as always, thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.
It's been a pleasure.